What's going on, Jeromes? Happy Saturday. Time for the weekly Q&A session. Now, a lot of questions. We pared it down. We knocked out some of the repetitive ones. So if your question didn't get answered, that's why. So you guys are the best. Thanks for submitting them. Let's get on. First up, Drippy Sports. What game are you looking forward to the most this year, and why are you looking forward to it? Also, add-on question, what chances do you honestly think we have to make the playoffs? So schedule-wise, I mean, the one I'm looking forward to, Packers. Like, I want to go up to Lambeau Field and just completely burn Utica to the ground, which would be great. At Bengals is going to be pretty fantastic. Got the Lions on Christmas Eve. Packers New Year's Eve again. So the Vikings, I mean, they have an interesting schedule coming up. In terms of making the playoffs, yes. I think that they're going to win the division. I think that the Lions were exposed as fraudulent, and I think the Vikings are hitting the momentum at the right time, and they're just going to get after it, man. Next up. Also, I'm sweating if Golden State, Sacramento is going to go over the 237.5. We'll see. Mason Large Show. My dad's been a Vikings fan since 6'9", and nice, and have been a fan my entire life, age 22. My son was born a few months ago. He's already watching games of me. The season really had me second-guessing putting him through the pain that my father and I have endured. Do you think the Vikings should extend Kirk and draft a quarterback? I don't like that the format gets cut off sometimes. QB early in the draft. Also been watching your channel every day since I was 16. Love the content. Hey, thanks for coming along. Congrats on the kid. Old man. We're going to win a Super Bowl for you one time. And I'll say we, because I don't care. I don't care about rules, man. And also I think the most likely outcome is that the Vikings do extend Kirk Cousins, and also they draft a quarterback. Maybe not even round one, but somewhere in the first 3 rounds. I think that's the most likely outcome right now. Robert Harry, do you think there will be anything Do you think there's anything to 2 defensive assistants taking time off for personal reasons? Also, what's your opinion on Dalvin Cook wanting a trade from the Jets? In terms of the 2 assistants, so Smitty's been out for a while, as well as Rumpf took some time away. Not familiar with what's going on with either of them. Hasn't been reported, but I don't think that they're connected. Also, wishing them the best, whatever they're working through, man. What's your opinion on Dalvin Cook wanting a trade for the Jets? I think Dalvin's agent, first off, I think that he basically misrepresented the market of what it was going to be. And the 1-year, $7 million deal had a lot of incentives in it. There was a lot of fluff in it. And also, I mean, the Vikings moved on at the right time. Like, Dalvin's not the same guy that he used to be. Now, in a weird world, would you take him back at the absolute league minimum and have him be RB3? Maybe. Maybe, but I mean, Dalvin's basically saying he wants more carries than Breece Hall, who is a monster. So no, ain't gonna happen. Sniper Gaming. Hi, Andy, love the show. Thank you. Do you think the Lions should be taken seriously after the blowout loss to Ravens? I still think that they can be a good team. I just don't think that they're world beaters like everyone thought that they were. Also, do you think that we keep or trade Ezra Cleveland after Dalton Reiser played solid against the Niners? Well, knocking on all the wood, of course, it's always hairy, tempting fate by getting rid of depth. But Ezra's probably going to leave in free agency next offseason, somewhere where he can play left tackle. And compensation-wise, like, it's probably going to be a 3rd, 4th round comp pick in 2025. If you can get better than that at the deadline, you'd have to think about it. Miles O'Leary. Do you think JJ has a future in coaching? It seems like he is great. He is great on the sideline and brings a lot of energy. I mean, it's possible. Although it's rare that you see superstar players get into coaching, because a lot of times it's a combination of natural, amazing, God-given ability, but it's hard to explain. It's like, hey, why do you travel? Is that it? 236, fantastic. Anyways. I don't know, maybe, because it's clear that Justin Jefferson absolutely loves the game, so we'll see. MN Vikings fan. Have you ever impulse purchased a Vikings jersey? I remember buying Christian Ponder jersey after his great Week 17 win against the Packers 2012. I discovered it packed away a few weeks ago about the Vikings 2-0 since wearing it. Thanks for great work, and I love catching up on the videos every morning. Hey, thank you. So I don't have a Ponder jersey. I have a T-Jack jersey, rest in power, but also I had a Bryant McKinney jersey for whatever reason. But also I think that I kind of want me a Darisaw jersey. I can snag that, man. Let's see. King Fig. To my surprise, there were some moments during the 49ers game where Kevin O'Connell showed emotion, anger, frustration for once. Is it sort of a new approach by Kevin O'Connell? I think O'Connell's just letting it rip. He's like, whatever, I'm pissed off. Whatever, I'm a call this game from my heart and my guts. Yeah. Miles Lillard, I think Addison proved himself as a viable number one, and Akers and Hawkinson have stepped up since JJ has been out. The offense looked fantastic aside from the red zone against one of the best defenses in the NFL. How good can they be when JJ gets back? Well, Kevin O'Connell play calling is on one right now, and I don't think that he should revert back to, whatever, JJ will figure it out. But spreading the ball around and this offense playing with confidence, I mean, this is exactly what we knew that they could be. And with JJ back in the fold, it's going to be just gorgeous, man. Vikes, man. Excellent clock management at the end of the first half, thankfully, finally, and with all 3 timeouts left to implement properly. Is this growth, new emphasis? Let's hope so. Yes, let's indeed hope so. But also, they got to speed getting the call in. I mean, it's frustrating to watch sometimes. Connor Lucht. Do you think the Vikings should extend Kirk? Also, do you think Derrick Henry is a possible trade target? I think that Kirk gives them the best chance to win over the next 2 years. And I think that even though he is going to be 36 next August, I think that he does give them the best chance to win over the next 2 years. And I think the Vikings Super Bowl window is open. And you can have... They've been trying to do this competitive rebuild, so have your cake and eat it too. And I think that they will do that. I think they'll extend Kirk to a 2-year deal. I think that the Vikings will also draft a quarterback. I think they can have it all. DRU, do you think we'll be signing or drafting our next big interior defensive lineman? Yes, both. Traveler, do you know how many people probably memorize the closing to your videos? My kid does watch just blurred out nearly perfect when we were at dinner. That's hilarious, man. Where it's just on autopilot, and also for whatever reason, like when I'm going through the ending, I tend to burp. I don't know what it is. Anyways, but that's fantastic. Knack Dog, do you realistically see the Vikings make a big splash before the trade deadline? If so, we'll just like to see happen, both buying and selling. I don't think they'll be big sellers. I mean, maybe they'll move like Ezra or Osborne, maybe. I don't see them trading Daniil, or definitely not Kirk, and obviously not Justin Jefferson. Let's see what else on TV. There you go. The buying, like obviously, a pie in the sky of Jeffrey Simmons or Brian Burns or Derek Brown or Surtain or Jalen Johnson is up there, but also guys like Zaven Collins or Kyra Lam or Taylor Tart or Josh Uche. I mean, CJ Henderson, it could make sense. I think the Vikings will make moves, and as evidenced by Kwesi trading in frickin' division for a top 3, and he's not 3 tight end, and then extending him, make him the highest paid tight end in NFL history. That's what Kwesi does, man. Woo. That's right, man. Next, R. Yang. History of Vikings alternate uniforms. I wish they would wear a black uniform 1 year and incorporate Celtic knots into the uniform. Are Celtic knots Scandinavian, though? Or are they the Celts? Well, the Celts are like amorphous because the Celts were in France and Germany and England and Ireland. But I don't know. But yeah, I know what you're saying. And yes, I think they absolutely should. Because I don't know why the NFL doesn't do that more anyway. Because the NBA has, it feels like their teams wear a different jersey every single game. And that sells more merch. I don't know why they don't change it up. Vincent Oliver. Has J.J. McCarthy been quietly getting better every week? Yes, because he's getting the signals. Sorry, cheap shot. And do you think he could end up being the number 1 pick in the draft? Probably not number 1. But McCarthy... So McCarthy is held back by Harbaugh's offense. I mean, they're ground and pound. They want to ground it up. Blake Corum is obviously a stud. But, I mean, McCarthy... He's got size. He's got mobility. He's got an arm that can make throws at all 3 levels. He's got solid accuracy and touch. I think that he's got some good intangibles as well. So I think that it's a spot where you're going to find that McCarthy is going to rise. Like, it would have shocked me at all if McCarthy's quarterback 3 in this class. Probably not, especially given Penix's health issues, in the past. And I think that he will rise up. Probably not in 1 though. I don't see him overtaking Williams or May. Ryan, hello, Handy. What up? over in the islands. Do you see the Vikings finishing their schedule as the 1 or 2 seed if they sweep the rest of the 2024 NFL schedule? Well, I mean, if they go 13-4, they're probably going to get the 1 seed. Yeah, but I mean, even I think 11 games wins the division. So margin for error kind of thin right now. T. Lynn, do you think with JJ's extension they told him we can pay you or we can pay Kirk, but not both, and that's what the deal didn't get done? They can do both. Yeah, I don't think that's the impediment right now. Could this be like Mahomes and Hill, where JJ has to sign off on Hall or a rookie? Nah, I mean, Tyreek was basically done in Kansas City. Yeah. Shikataru, what would you do for trade compensation for your trade crushes? What trade value can we get for players who might trade like Ezra Cleveland? I think maybe like a late second or an early third, depending where he goes for Ezra. In terms of trade compensation, just back envelope math, I would do this year's second and 2025 first rounder for Jeffrey Simmons, for Surtain. I would do the 2024 second for Derek Brown. I would do a third for Chase Young. I would do like a fifth for Jalen Johnson. Yeah. Do a fourth for Derrick Henry. Let's go. El Rondo McBongo. If he could sign any 2 players from any team besides quarterback for the current Vikings right now, who do you think give the Vikings best chance at Super Bowl this year? Probably Chris Jones or Christian McCaffrey. So just 2 players. I guess Aaron Donald and a healthy Vita Vea. That would actually be pretty good. Actually, screw it. Aaron Donald and Chris Jones, or Aaron Donald / Chris Jones and Sauce Gardner. There you go. Traveler, do you think Kwesi will wait to see what happens in Green Bay until he trades for? Actually, no. Myles Garrett and Sauce Gardner. There you go. I think that even if the Vikings somehow lose in Green Bay, I think that they'll still be buyers. At 3-5, I hope it's still alive. Milo. I know it's not time yet, but I'm pumped for the mock draft season. It'll be here sooner than you think. Knack Dog. I asked a while ago, well, where was Kirk O'Chains? How pumped for you to see JJ put that top 10 chain at Kirk. I loved it and loved the persona. I feel like Carolina wasn't the type of road win where you celebrate like that. And that was the whole thing about Kirk O'Chains. It was after road wins. But now that they got momentum going, well, they didn't do it after the Bears either. But, I mean, Niners could be the start. I mean, Green Bay, short flight, this could be the start. I mean, getting the 4-4, wanting some more, winning 3 games in a row, I feel like that could be the spark. And then you got the Falcons come back from Hotlanta, come back from Denver, come back from Vegas, as well as the Bengals and Lions. Let's do it, man. Let's hear. Miles, if we extend Kirk into Neal, would you pay a first-round pick to snag Derek Brown or offer a mid-pick for Tart? Feels to me like this team just needs to beef up its defensive front, and we have all the pieces. A corner would be nice, but with Booth playing better, I'm not sure we need to mess with that room. Your thoughts? Yes, I think defensive line. I know the corner and defensive line are going to be talked about, but D-line is where it's at. Derek Brown, Jeffrey Simmons, screw it. T.R. Tart, of course, went viral, hip tossing Bradbury out of the club at joint practices. I think the Vikings could address that. Yeah. Osama been smoking. Do you think Kevin O'Connell will have his team ready to beat the Packers? It'll be a test. I mean, it's nice to get the win on Monday night against the Niners, but you have a short week, and if they come out flat against a division rival, a chance to piss in their cornflakes and effectively end their season and get your season back to 4-4. I mean, that's on Kevin O'Connell. It is. 2, what quarterback would you want the most besides May or Williams? I'm really digging McCarthy. I like Penix if his medicals check out. Ewers, I love the YOLO attitude. I think there's a lot to like about Shedeur Sanders. I know that he's not everyone's cup of tea. And Cam Ward has really grown on me. The pride of Washington State. Yeah. 3, do you think the Panthers would give Derek Brown for Tonga and 2/4? I don't even think you have to give up Tonga. Maybe 2/4 if they have zero intention of re-signing him. Tomahawk, what was your favorite jersey style from 2000 to present? Mine was the 2013 first year of Nike before they brought the uniforms to the present style. I kind of like the early aughts, like the old school Vikings, where it was basically that design through the late 80s to the mid 2000s when they changed it. I just like that because that's what I was growing up as a kid. Derek Flores, realistically speaking, do you think the Vikings need to finish out the year to win the division? How do you? I think 11-6. I think it's the division. It's Mike, y'all. Do you think Flores is a one and done, or will he stay with the Vikings another year? I think there will be significant interest in him in head coach. I think that his experience with the Dolphins and the way that ended, I think that might unfairly be held against him in interviews. So I think that Flores will be here for one more year, and then he'll get another head coaching job. Drew Wenas, how do you about teams on Halloween weekend using? What do you think about that? Although, what would the Vikings be? I know, Barney. Nina Rowan, what do you think is the Vikings' biggest weakness even after the win? Red zone. They got to be able to punch it in. You can't be selling for field goals and putting the game in Greg Joseph's hands, especially against good teams. JFK USA, do you think that seeing guys like Ivan Pace Jr. coming in and balling out, it makes sense to draft players that may not fit the mold of that position, size, weight, other measurables, but are clearly guys that can ball? Would you be able to amass a decent team of misfits from ballers that fall in the draft because their arms aren't long enough? Obviously, it would be great if everyone looked like Danielle Hunter, but that's not the case. And market inefficiencies happen a lot throughout history too, where you look at short linebackers, you look at London Fletcher, Sam Mills, etc. You look at Zach Thomas is in there too. You look at guys like Dwight Freeney, who never really checked the boxes of what you want an edge rusher to be, but he's a Hall of Famer. Also, you look at when there was biases against black quarterbacks, and that was a market inefficiency. There's a lot of really talented guys that came through, and that's how you get Warren Moon on the Oilers after he had a couple of seasons in the CFL, right? And also, the Patriots did this too, because it swung the other way, because there was a bias against white wide receivers, and then the Patriots end up with Welker, and they ended up with Hogan was actually decent for a hot second. Edelman was in there, Amendola for whatever reason, and I feel like the number one question is, like, can the guy play? Like, it doesn't matter what he looks like, what his measurables are. Like, you can run a 4.3 40, but if you can't change direction and you don't have any instincts, you may as well be running a 4.8. Whereas if you have a guy, a cornerback who's 4.6, but can read and react and match and mirror against wide receivers, like that's way more valuable. Ash Swifty, why do you think we need to take round one? Why do you think we need to take round one of this coming draft? What do you? Quarterback, D-line, cornerback. I know it's far away. Just curious what you think. Online alias. I can't remember if it was the Netflix show, but Kirk says he wants his son to see him play and win. Can we get Jerome Barty one time with his team? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, both of his kids are of the age where they can remember it. I mean, it's not like they're 2. So, yes, go win it. Braden Newton. What's your thoughts on the herd bashing Kirk and Minnesota after the win over the greasy grimy Green Bay 49ers? I think that Coward's in an enviable spot because he has to have accurate takes about all 32 teams and also multiple sports. And when you have to do that, you just settle into just grooved narratives. And bashing Kirk Cousins and bashing the Vikings is just something that's the media has done for years. So he's wrong. Let's see here. King Karate Chop, if Kirk Cousins were to ask you what flavor ice cream you wanted and you told him to surprise you, what flavor do you think he would bring you? Maple nut, because old white people love maple nut. Joe, do you think we can trade Madison? I mean, you'd have to eat some of the contract. Yeah, I don't think the return that you would get would be enough to justify moving him. I think he's okay, but also I think that Akers and Chandler deserve more work. Evan Cascanaway, thinking of a world where Dax Hill fell one more pick right into the Vikings' lap, wouldn't that be nice? Isn't she lovely? It also would have been nice if J.J. Watt fell a couple more spots in 2011 too. Or if the Vikings had just taken Aradal. Anti-GOAT. I've been wondering this recently. Why did Zimmer hire DiFilippo just to fire him 13 games into the year? Stylistically, they didn't match up. Zimmer wanted to run the ball, and that came bleeding through like weekly press conferences. Well, I think we should run the ball more. Well, you're the head coach, right? And DiFilippo was a hot coordinator because he had been the the red zone coordinator for the Eagles, and he was doing like what a lot of offense coordinators want to do. That he wanted to show off and get a head coaching job, and that's just human nature. Also, so DiFilippo had worked with Tony Sparano, with the Raiders a couple years back, and like it felt like the situation was Zimmer didn't know DiFilippo from a hole in the wall, and Sparano was the bridge. As the intermediary between DiFilippo and Zimmer, and I think it was in July 2018. Fortunately, Tony Sparano passed away, so that buffer went away, and Zimmer and DiFilippo didn't see eye to eye, and it's clear that they didn't work together well, and they just moved on. And then Stefanski stepped in and did great at the end of the season, and then got the OC job the next year, and then got the head coaching job. But yeah, I mean, DiFilippo just didn't work out. Arfrey, why has Cine been a healthy scratch over the past few weeks? I understand it's a numbers thing, but scratch first round pick in his second year in the league seems strange. Should we be concerned about his ability? So I don't think it's so much about ability, but also it's weird what people are asking. I understand that you're frustrated that a first round pick isn't contributing, but what you're asking is draft position and draft pedigree should trump what everyone else is doing. And I don't think that's what you want to do with your organization, because, I mean, the Vikings go 5 deep at safety. All right, it's Harrison, it's Beasley, it's Metellus, it's Theo Jackson, and Jay Ward. And the latter two, Theo Jackson and Jay Ward, have been phenomenal on special teams. So basically what fans are asking, because you're not going to have 6 safeties on the game day 46 or 47 now. You're not going to do that. So basically what fans are asking, hey, sit down Harrison or Beasley or Metellus or Theo Jackson or Jay Ward. And Jackson and Ward, like, they've done nothing to lose their jobs. They played extremely well on special teams. One of those 5 guys should sit just because Lewisine was a first-round pick. Ain't going to happen. No. But also, I think that the Vikings are taking it very slow with Cine because, I mean, we're still just over a year from him and, like, bones sticking out of his skin, like, on the ground in London. So I do believe in Cine. But also, I mean, if you can get some at the trade deadline, you got to think about it. John Mart, what do you think about Noah Fifta, quarterback for Arizona Wildcats? Well, if he leads them to a win and a cover on Saturday, I'm in. I don't know. I haven't really done a lot of research on him. How's it going? You said the Vikings should be buyers, but to what extent? How much should the Vikings spend on buying? Basically, I would give up anything except for this year's first. I understand it's probably going to be later, but that immediacy I got to hang on to. And the Vikings don't have a third-round pick this year, so I would feel fine, trading like this year's second, next year's 2 years from now is first. Yeah. Trevor, do you think we'll make any moves at the trade deadline? And if so, who? Yes. I think that Kwesi will make 1 or 2 value trades, although the blockbusters would be a lot of fun, man. There you go. Fierce Frodo, how close are you to listening to just listen to Paul and Call the Game while watching on TV? LO Buck and Collinsworth, crappy announcers. Well, I have done that before. It's not difficult to sync now that everything is like whatever. But also I do like being up to the second. The radio call is a little bit delayed, and so instead of like streaming it on YouTube TV, I purposely watch on over the air antenna, because it's actually about 45 seconds faster than YouTube TV. But I mean, if everything was synced up, I probably would. Connor, man, why has the crowd been 50-50? Disappointed. Also, something that needs to be looked at least brought to light, is Ryan Wright hasn't been good this season. Yeah, Wright hasn't been good as last year, but he's still okay, above average. Yeah. So basically, the crowds for the Chiefs and the Niners game were like half red. And that's something that's a little bit of an issue. Now, the Chiefs now have a national fan base. The Niners have a national fan base, so that's part of it. And also, I mean, Minnesota is beautiful in the fall. So I'm sure that a lot of Chiefs fans came up from KC up I-35. But a lot of Niners fans probably came in from out of town too. But as the season goes along, I mean, Minnesota's not a nice place to visit anymore, so I think that's going to tamp down. And also, you didn't see it I mean, the Bucks and the Chargers, you didn't really see them taking over. Chiefs and the Niners, I think that was a little bit of an anomaly. But also, I mean, most of the Vikings seats are season tickets, so why are you just selling your seats? Don't get it, man. But I don't see it 50-50 for the Saints. I don't see it for the Bears. I don't see it for the Lions or the Packers. Nah. Ooh, that's interesting. Yeah, so 3 division games and only the Saints are left. Anyways, next up, Traveler. I'll be in Vegas during Vikings game in December. Will there be a Jerome homie meetup? Yes. We'll do something at the Blue Ox, which is the Vikings bar, which is in just northwest of the Strip. There you go. Rudy Peel. Why do you think Flores likes to have one linebacker Hicks on almost every defensive snap in the last 2 games? I think part of it is just matchup. All right, and the Vikings have been playing a lot lighter personnel, and basically Metellus they have as a de facto linebacker most of the time, and it really sucks that Pace hasn't been on the field as much. So I don't know what's going on there, if it's rookie stuff or if it was just game plan. So I don't know. Next up is Joe. Any run backs stick out to you in the draft? Not particularly. I like Corum is nice, but I don't think that there's going to be any running backs taken in the top 50 this year. Drew Smith. Would you trade Madison for Steelers running back Jalen Warren? Nah. Cowboy. I don't even think I would trade Madison for. I wouldn't do that either. Cowboy Viking. Would you be willing to do a video essay on the Dennis Green Vikings that went to the Super Bowl? Yes. Off-season. Kenny Lay. What's our biggest red flag after the 49ers game? Red zone. Cogburn. We need to look in defensive players as probably Hitman's final year in the NFL. Sad, but I think we need to look at cornerbacks and running backs. Our cornerback room is mostly soft with the exception of Caleb Evans and Andrew Booth Jr. having flashes. We need a harder hitting pass defense, but that's the only reliable running back right now is Cam Akers. I love Madison, but has not been performing the best this season. My top players, I would pick Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, Surtain, or Yeah, I don't think that they make the move for the running back. I think it's more likely they add along the defense. But, yeah, I think that D-line, cornerback is going to be good to go. Harrison moving on. I think that Cine is going to be his replacement. I think that was the plan when they drafted him at 32 overall. So we'll see. Coltman. If we can play how we did against the 49ers, but every game that we can make a run. Yes. That's what's frustrating about the Vikings, that could have beat the Bucks, could have beat the Eagles, could have, would have, should have, all that stuff. But now put it together. 22 Jack. If the Vikings lose to Packers, things get very complicated because we look good and have a chance in playoffs. But 3-5 is a hurdle to climb up. Well, they climbed out of 0-3 and 1-4. So what's 3-5? Mr. Payday. Madison, a 4th for Derrick Henry. What do you think, Skull? Yes. Jack Hall. Do you think that the Vikings could be doing good without Jefferson, and when he is healthy enough to play, they'll sit him at 100% to get sneak in the playoffs? I think they'll get him to 100% either way, but I think that, frankly, it's kind of good for Kevin O'Connell to learn to operate without JJ, and the offense has gotten more creative and spread the ball a lot more. Cascanaway, what did you think about training for Kyle Lam? Yes, the underachieving cornerback in Buffalo. 84 Goat 28. What do you really think is going to happen with Kirk? Do you think they'll resign him, and do you think JJ will stay in Minnesota? I think they'll extend both. Yes, and then they'll extend Darisaw. I don't know about Daniil. ENF. Are we in for a letdown game against the Packers? It seems like every time we win a big emotional game, we come out flat the following week. Kevin O'Connell, big test this week. Yes, this is as important as the San Francisco game was in terms of Kevin O'Connell standing with the team. Joey's best shorts. Do you think Jordan Addison will win Rookie of the Year? And what are your thoughts about the Vikings making the playoffs? And do you think they'll have a chance to win the Super Bowl? Yes, on the latter. In terms of Addison, I think racking up and stacking up stats, yes, I think that will go a long way. I think that right now it's Puka Nacua. Stroud is also making a very strong case. Bajan started out great, but But I think Addison will have a chance to get back into the Derby for Offensive Rookie of the Year. Aaron Dav. Do we need Jefferson? Yes. Get out here. It's not the Ewing theory, from Bill Simmons. No, it's get out here. Showdown. Are we going to lose Flores after the season? He's going to get a lot of offers for head coach. I think that he'll get a lot of interest. I think we'll keep him for one more year. Praise the Sun. Hunter only needs 1.5 sacks the rest of the season. Tie his sack total from last year. Pay that man his money. Yes. User, could you make a video on how cap works off season? Silver, should the Vikings get a proven kicker to give Greg a run for his money? I would put one on the practice squad. With expanded practice squads, I don't know why more teams don't do that. Richer, favorite Halloween costume and candy as a kid. Costume, Ghostbusters, but of course, living in Minnesota, you always had to dress up as warm Ghostbusters with a jacket. Candy as a kid, I was like Starburst. Yeah, bit of a Starburst slut. Or Airheads. So the watermelon Airheads with the little like cookie watermelon seeds. That's fantastic, man. Carl Gerberger. Jalen Hurts as Bogdan from Breaking Bad. Now, you may think this is silly, but I actually brought this up. And so Bogdan was the owner of the car wash before Walt and Skyler took over. I mean, yeah, Jalen does have pronounced eyebrows. There you go. Super core. Is Kirk Cousins playing MVP caliber football right now? Yes. I mean, it's been Kirktober. He's been getting after it. Love to see it. Zeke, let's go and get Derrick Henry and win the Super Bowl this year. I mean, it would be a lot of fun. Cole Snitker, if Hunter wins Defensive Player of the Year, what are the odds of Vikings resign him? 50-50. It's tough to say. It would be really tough to let him go without any compensation either. Josh Andrus, well, I guess you technically could do a sign and trade, but then again, why would any team do that since the Vikings can't tag him anyway? What do we do if we lose to Green Bay this week? Fire sale? Well, I guess if a team, wants to be guaranteed his rights, but Akers takes 50%. What do we do if we lose? No, they'll still be buyers. How long before Akers takes over 50% snaps? It's gonna be soon. For sure, it's going to be soon. Michael Brooks. Brian Flores has done a lot of things well for us, but why has he not put a big emphasis on the defensive tackle group? I don't think he has a lot of choice. And, Jaquelin, I mean, he's unproven, but I think he's got more upside. But I'm sure that, Flores, like a lot of conservative coaches, like to go with veterans. And that's why Dean Lowry is still in there. That disappointed Vikings fan. Top 5 or 10 Vikings games since 2016. Top 5. The Miracle. The Colts comeback. The Bills win. Saints wild card. The Niners game. I would put that up there. Just because of the insanity. Especially Addison busting out. There you go. And then also the Broncos comeback. When like Brandon Allen was their quarterback. The Vikings were down 20-0. They came back. That was a J-Ron Curse game. And then they got arrested right after. Ryan R. Yang, Titans fire sale. Who should the Vikings target? Simmons, Tart, Derrick Henry, sure. Jacob Householder, would you rather have Rob Brzezinski or Howie Roseman? Well, they're two different jobs. So Brzezinski is a capologist, and Roseman's a true blue GM. So Tyler Johnston guitar. Why or why not is Kirk overpaid? He's not. He's like the 14th highest paid quarterback right now. Yeah, but I'd extend him, give him $40 million per year, no problem. Brandon Morello. I know it's one game, but Dalton Risner should be the new starter over Ezra. I think it's way more likely that Risner is the future left guard versus re-signing Ezra. So yes, Marcus, wide receiver 3 next year. Powell, Naylor, other. Next year. Probably Powell if they resign him. Cody's nuts. With the Love completely flopping, the border battle seems like a gimme at this point. No doubt we sweep the Cheezers. So why Lions game becomes a Midwest mini Super Bowl? Yes, and yes. Well done. All right. Trevor, do you have a costume for Halloween? If so, what is it? Trick-or-treating dad. Carl Gervers, what were the Vikings supposed to get draft compensation for hiring a minority GM? No, it's if one of your organization is hired as a minority GM or head coach. So if you'd foster the development of them and then they're hired for the top job, then you get, I think it's a 3rd round pick. Yeah. Lance TV did. Should Powell replace KJ when Jefferson returns? I think they should work Powell in more. Yeah. Let's see. Rate Ryan Anderson. Rate Bynum's worm skills 1 to 10. 7. Oh wait. Yeah, 7. Cody Pierce. Odds of Vikings going after Patrick Surtain and Chase Young. 10%, maybe, but gimme. D-lister. 7 stud cleats. Better not see any MFers slipping out there. Yes. Although weather should be better this year. Kyra, is pro wrestling fake? Skull from Brazil. Pro wrestling fake. I mean, it's predetermined and scripted, but then again, what isn't? Zaragoza, it's my birthday today. 10/25 Skull. Happy belated birthday. There you go. All right, that's it. That's Q&A for the week. You guys are the best. Skull production value.